and push the record button there. Okay, so once again, thank you very much for taking the time to meet with me. I'll start with just some basic stuff. If you could tell me your name, your position here at UT, that's my previous institution. Talk about being unprepared. Position here at Purdue. Uh, how long you've been at Purdue and how long you've been an advisor?
Yeah, my name is Rustin Webster. I am an associate professor inside the School of Engineering Technology, which is inside the Purdue Polytechnic Institute. This is my ninth and a half year, so at the end of the semester, I'll be done with my 10th year of teaching. I'm actually located in New Albany, Indiana, which is one of our PPI satellite campuses, and I am the faculty advisor for the Society of Manufacturing Engineers student chapter here. There's also a student chapter on main campus too, but I have been the advisor here since I just looked spring of 2018. So
About 7 years. Well, a long time. All right, so I'll start off kind of with the softball questions. There's no hardball
sure.
questions, but uh, can you talk about how you became a faculty advisor for this organization? Was it part of your job description? Did they invite you? Something initiative?
Yeah, so we had a professor here. We're a smaller location, we're a satellite campus, so we fluctuate between 150 to 250 students down here. With predominantly they're all mechanical engineering or electrical engineering technology students. We had a faculty who retired 2 years ago. His name was Professor Tim Cooley. He was an MET faculty, and he is the one that started our chapter decades ago. So it's actually been active here in New Albany for, oh man, I'm just going to throw out 20 plus years because I know that he was doing it way before I had gotten here. Um, he was on the back end of his career, to be completely honest. I was young and had a lot of energy, I guess. I also have a teaching philosophy that reduces the power distance between the student and the faculty, built on collaboration, trust, and honesty. And I think he saw that as a nice teaching philosophy that would pair well with being a faculty advisor of a student club. Um, so he asked me. And I accepted with open arms and have been running with it since spring of 2018 when he asked me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on a very positive note, what would you say you enjoy most about your role
Oh,
as an advisor?
well, to tie into my teaching philosophy statement that I just kind of gave you there, and it's been that way since day one. I mean, my office is literally right across the hallway from the classroom I teach all my classes in, and I teach three different classes every fall and spring semester. It's the student interactions. Building deeper bonds with some of the students. Your officers specifically because they're doing a lot of the work. So yeah, it's just that something different to break up the day. Also, right? I mean, after teaching the same classes for 9 years, it's nice to do something different.
Yeah.
And the students are always coming up with new ideas. So
Okay. Speaking of breaking up the day and doing something different, what would you say you find most challenging about your role as advisor?
uh, it's participation, student participation, and some of it is based on our specific location.
Hmm.
I don't want to say we're a commuter campus, but we don't have dorms here at the satellite campus. A lot of our students work. I would say the majority of our students have employment. So getting them to partake in activities outside of the classroom can be challenging just because of the time. They don't have the extra time often. Some of them might have kids and wives too, so and families. So I would say the most challenging thing is participation.
Is there a particular moment or maybe period of time that you'd say you were most proud of the organization and or your role in it?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, and I'll preface this because this is going to be online. I didn't know these questions, so I'm thinking off the top of my head.
Fair.
Um, Yeah, so every fall here, the local community has an event called Harvest Homecoming. It's like a 2 week long kind of like local festival kind of thing. And one of the events that our location hosts and sponsors early on is a pumpkin chunking contest,
Uh-huh.
where teams design and build trebuchets, where weight drops and then it propels a projectile, and that projectile in this case are 7 pound pumpkins, the length of a football field, and they have to hit a
Okay.
target. So it's been going on for many many years. It's a big recruiting event for us, but also a community outreach event. Um, Probably 4 or 5 years ago now, we had an SME team design and build a catapult, a lot of donations from local industry around here. And they won. They were the only team, adult competition team that hits target. And then 2 years ago, we had another group of SME members build another one. They also won, and then they were repeat winners last year. So
Okay.
see them continually do that, incorporate things that we've taught them in class, the manufacturing methods that we've taught them. So it's that was those are highlights. So
Side note, I'm pretty new to my position. It started last summer. I just learned what a trebuchet was because we had a trebuchet organization, if that's what they were called, the trebuchet club,
oh
who actually
yeah,
merged with Society of Mechanical Engineering here,
okay.
so they could get a bit more funding to do their trebuchet and catapulting.
Yeah, hope they need to build a big one and come bring it down here and compete. So
Yeah, I don't know if they do that. I'm gonna have to let them know.
oh,
Um, okay, so I just got two more for you. One is,
sure.
what do you feel the university could do or do more to support your organization, you as an advisor, or just orgs in general, or advisors in general? Or are they doing enough?
Well, I mean, in my case, my answer is going to be different, and it's because I'm 3 hours away from main campus. Right? I don't have access to many of the things
Hmm,
that an advisor of a student club would in main campus.
sure.
Rental places, equipment. I mean, just access to people. Now, luckily, the internet and video conferencing out of COVID was one of the best things that happened out of it. So, but we do have restrictions. Rentals of a van. Like if we wanted to go somewhere, right? Like we don't have access to any of that down here. And then someone would be like, "Well, you come up and get it and then bring it back." It's like, well, that's a 6 hour round trip. That ain't gonna work, right? So,
Gotcha.
uh,
Yep.
I would say that, but it's based on the geographic barrier that we are, and there's nothing I can do about that. So, from overall, no, I mean, our officers are trained well. We still have access to the bank accounts and boiler link and that and we govern and run ourselves pretty well. So no, I think we're fine. I think I'm fine. Yeah.
Okay. Good to know. Given your 7 years of experience as an advisor, what insight, advice, tips would you have for someone who's just become one, they're a new advisor, or someone who's considering it that's kind of wondering what they might be getting themselves into?
Um, it does take work. It does take your interest. If you are signing up to be an advisor of a student organization, to put it on your resume, you're doing it for the wrong reasons, right? It won't survive. Um, I would also say, at least in my case, this is our only student club down here. We don't have any other ones, so this is the only one. But we don't pigeonhole ourselves into like a trebuchet only student club, right? We're the Society for Manufacturing Engineers, and when I originally took it over, it was only for mechanical students. I thought that was crazy, so we actually reread our constitution and then opened it up to our electrical students too. That helped grew our membership base. So and we just use the acronym SME because that was what it was. But we don't say that this club is only for manufacturing, even though that's what's in the name. So trying to keep it broad will always help with participation. You're going to have to every year when officer transitions happen, it requires quite a bit of effort on me as the faculty to recruit students who might want to do that. Because often the young, freshmen and sophomores who are typically really good at doing that kind of stuff because they're not overloaded with upper level classes or maybe internships and co-ops yet. They have a little bit more free time, but they do. It does take a lot of effort from me as an advisor to encourage them to nominate themselves or nominate someone else and run for that office
Mhm.
and encourage them that, hey, you can do this. It's okay. You'll have help and guidance along the way. So um, I don't know. That's kind of a ramble to that question, but you do have to be active in it. So,
For sure. No, that's a
and be
consistent.
accessible. Not to go off too, and be
Yep.
accessible, right? So that would be another thing.
Mhm.
Here, like I said, my classroom's right across there. We're a small one building. If I was talking to someone in West Lafayette, and students are all across that campus, it would be, make somehow figure out that you are accessible to the members at all time, and that's pretty tough. So, yeah.
For sure. Consistent, I guess, challenge that we receive here at SAO, Student Activities and Organizations, is that transition time. Can't find people, can't get in touch with people. Um, previous presidents didn't share information down to the next incoming president. We got to start all over. It's yeah, that's definitely a big one.
So, Brian, a little bit on that. So when I took it
Mm-hmm.
over, um, the club was still antiquated a little bit in some of their
Mm-hmm.
ways. So immediately we started a Gmail account that I'm the prime person, but I don't have access to it. But we've been using that for 8+ years. I make sure that officers are always putting anything they create in there for the next
Cool.
officers.
Nice.
We also try to have elections early in the spring. Like
Mm-hmm.
we just had elections 3 weeks ago, and that's because the officers that are exiting are still here for this semester, and they're
Right.
always willing to mentor those new ones for this last 10 weeks of the semester. So those are some things that have been real beneficial to us. um yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, those logistical pieces as well are really good. I
Yeah.
think in particular, someone who doesn't have experience as a student org advisor, probably that's not something that would occur to them intuitively. So great. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Yeah, I was curious, but since your your role as advisor spanned quite a bit of time, what are some major areas of growth or change or development you've seen in your org over that time?
And the club wasn't unhealthy when I took it over. And with everything in life, we have our ups and downs. So during we luckily got through the COVID era,
Hmm.
survived it with a bare minimum of officers and number of members needed. So we made it through that. Because we couldn't really do much. And the years before COVID, there was it was a small, close knit group of students who became the officers, and they ran with it. I mean, they did everything. I mean, it was literally 2 years. They ran 2 years in a row. It was like sit back, I didn't have to do nothing. And then, last year it was like I had to start with a whole new group of officers, and they were
Yeah.
mostly freshmen and sophomores. And you're constantly peppering them with, can we do something? Can we do something? Let's plan an event. Let's do something. So it's just it's ups and downs, all the time. So,
Yeah. Nature being in higher ed and working with these students
yeah.
transitioning in and out for sure.
So to go back to your question, overall, biggest growth we have, we've kind of stayed, flat. We don't have all-time enrollment records down here, right? So,
Sure.
we don't. It's not like we have this influx of new bodies. We do try to recruit. I guess there's another thing with advice. I teach intro classes down here, so Tech 120 and Gateway to Engineering Tech. I have the officers come within the very first week or the very first 2 weeks of that class and give a presentation to all incoming freshmen who are a little bit easier to persuade to maybe partake in a student activity or student club. And then we also host a cookout that first week too, where they can do some recruiting. So the bulk of our recruiting actually happens every fall and every spring in the first 2 weeks. So, yeah.
Mhm. All right. Makes a lot of sense. So I'll go ahead and end the recording here. Thank you again for your
Sure.
time.